And I have been doing extended fasting now for almost 7 years. Athletes in the future will always perform professional games, compete in fasted states. They just don't know about it yet.
But one last thing on this particular topic that I just want to hit is fasting.
Yeah.
This is something that you're very reasonable about when you started. When I told you, like, I don't fast and I eat like 6 meals a day, small meals, no fat. Like, but you try to give me, like, all I had was a filet mignon. I thought I was amazing. Now somebody's like, you want a filet? I'm like, do I have to eat that? Like the worst piece of meat? Can't I have a ribeye? Which is my favorite now.
Go-to, yeah.
So all grass-fed, grass-finished, by the way. But you said wisely, good counsel, don't try to do a 3-day fast, a 72-hour fast right away. Build your fasting muscle. And I've been able to build a fasting muscle. And the hardest part of a fast for me is, well, there's two things that happen. One is whenever I set my target and I get close to it, I get really hungry. It's like if I set a 24-hour fast, I'm at like 23 hours. I'm like, I gotta eat.
Yeah.
But if I set it at 48-hour fast, I don't even think about it at 24. Although I will tell you though that it is that 24-hour mark that is the hardest for me, where I think a little bit more about food. But if I just let myself, so let's say I eat at 3 or 4 or 5. The next day I get to 3 or 4 or 5, I'm like, I gotta eat. I gotta do something to distract myself, get away from it, and then fall asleep. When I wake up the next morning, I don't need to eat, and I'm fine, and I am like, here I'm like almost 48 hours not eating, and I have the best workout. I run fast, I lift weights, I'm ultra focused at work.
Yeah.
And you told me about that, and I was like, that can't be true.
Yeah.
I knew it was, but I finally got there, and I enjoy it. But what does this do? What is the fasting actually accomplishing? How often do we do it? I think you talked about autophagy and how when your body reaches autophagy, after a certain point, it kills cancer cells if they're not at least at like a stage 4 level, or there's like there's a point of diminishing return on fasting for cancer patients, but there's health for others, and that actually even builds immunity. Talk more about that.
Yeah, so you're correct in the process and the state, the biological state that fasting brings the most benefit is through autophagy. And it's one of those A words besides adiponectin that I hope people watching this show will bother to research and learn more about. So it's one thing to hear a expert or somebody come in and give their opinion. It's another thing to have it corroborated through self-study. So hopefully people listening today and say, well, Dave and Sean were talking about autophagy. Let me look into that. That's what happens when you fast. And briefly, what happens when autophagy is setting in. And by the way, from studies, it is dose dependent, and it increases maximally at about 3 days, about 72 hours. So as you continue to fast, starting off early, you get some benefits with autophagy, but the benefits increase, the levels of the activity of autophagy increases till about 72 hours or 96 hours. And then it kind of levels off and maybe starts to go down a little bit.
So can you get into autophagy after 24 hours?
Yep, you can. So after 24 hours, if you've been fasting for 24 hours, it will continue to improve. And what's happening with autophagy, just so people in the audience have never heard of it and don't know what it is it's your body's the best way to describe it is spring cleaning in a house. So it's where cellular debris and disease starts to abate, starts to go away. The body starts cleaning things out and you start improving. And so that's why you feel better when you're in a fasted state. Your body is reset to a higher, more better, optimal state. And by the way, if you think about it from an ancestral standpoint, our ancestors would not have hunted with a full belly. They would have hunted in a fasted state where they're hungry, they're going out to hunt, and it wouldn't make sense to be in a weakened state if you're going to hunt. And so what happens over a period of time, and you've experienced this, as you correctly say, you want to get fasting muscle, you want to acquire the capacity to fast, you actually will improve better. And that's why you're faster, you're stronger, you're more clear thinking. you process information better. I mean, one of the first experiences I had with this was going to watch my son that I'd seen play hockey for years. I went once in a state of fasting for about 72 hours, and my ability to follow that hockey puck and to analyze the shots and what was happening were so far superior than what I could do in a fed state that I realized what an advantage this would provide if I had to go out and hunt and do things. So since that, it's been probably 8 years past that, I regularly exploit fasting when I really have to perform. So I would offer, as enticement to any professionals listening today, to encourage them to try out fasting and do it over a slow period of time and watch how their body improves, and with it, their performance will improve. They'll just become better. They'll set new personal best records. They'll make less errors at work. They'll process the same work that they normally do much more efficiently. And that's why you're beginning to really fall in love with it. But Dave, you're still early into this, brother. You've only been doing it for 1 year. The best is yet to come. And I have been doing extended fasting now for almost 7 years. And I continue to fast longer and have even better benefit than I ever have after 7 years of doing this. So there doesn't seem to be an end in sight to this, and I intend to continue to exploit fasting.
I also notice I don't really lose muscle or anything when I fast. I would have thought for sure I would lose muscle.
Yeah,
and
a lot of people think that, and I'm glad you bring that up because they're afraid to fast. But one of the things that I encourage you to do is to exercise in a fasted state.
Yeah,
So prisoners of war, POWs, are emaciated. They lose muscle because they're not exercising. They're stressed out, and they're caloric deprived. They're basically in a fasted state. But you won't lose that muscle if you exercise like our ancestors would. They'd go out hunt, and they would also, by the way, engage in conflict. So if they had neighboring tribes that they were competing with, God forbid they had to, then they would do so in a fasted state because they would perform better. And so when you exercise, you want to exercise in a fasted state, not in a fed state. Your blood is in a fed state going to your mesenteric arteries, your gastrointestinal system, to help with digestion. It's not available to go to your muscles in your periphery. But when you're in a fasted state, then the blood, there's no food in your stomach, and the blood can then be diverted very efficiently to your muscles for performance. So that's why you really perform better, and the athletes in the future will always perform professional games, compete in fasted states. They just don't know about it yet.
Yeah.
But the NFL, forward thinking, the best soccer, football in Europe, they're going to find out about fasting, and those entire teams will be competing in fasting states. You watch that's going to happen.
I remember there was a Muslim pro football player. I can't remember who it was, a few years ago during Ramadan, would do these really super long fasts and perform at a super high level. And I was mystified by how he did that.
I wish you see if you can remember who it was.
Yeah, we can look that up
circle
too.
Back with them.
So another thing, just to wrap this up, I've changed my workouts a little bit too now. So my workouts are like a fist fight. So I still do like back and buys one day and then shoulders and chest. But I will do, gosh, how many sets will I do? I don't know. I'll do like 25 sets of 10 to 15 reps in 30 minutes.
Awesome.
And I walk out of there and I feel like I've got the energy to do the workout. It's not that difficult to do. And now 20 minutes after I leave, I am made aware, just by way of this relaxation, that I had a great workout.
Yeah.
And I'm done.
Yep.
And so it's efficient too. I mean, it doesn't, what's also great? Like I save so much time not eating on Fridays.
Yeah.
I don't have to make the meals. We don't go through that process. I only eat once on Wednesdays. It's less. I only eat 2 meals instead of 3.
Shopping is so much more easier than before.
Easy. We know what we're going to get. And it's bonding for my wife and I. We enjoy this, and she knew about carnivore before I ever did, and the workouts are shorter. And instead of doing like 30 or 40-minute runs,
perfect for business executives.
Oh my gosh, I spend about 2 minutes on cardio, and it's not cardio, but I spend 2 minutes running. I'm like, I'm going to go for my workout, back,
Yeah.
I don't know how long. I only wait maybe 5 to 8 seconds between sprints. How long should I wait?
I mix it up. That's a question I get. A lot of people want to know how long you should wait. Nature would cause us to sprint, sometimes back to back because, we had conflict, we had hunting, we were going back and forth. And sometimes we just sprint one time and we wouldn't sprint again for, a week. So it changes. Variability is important. And so sometimes I on average, I tell people to sprint about 6 times every other day, and you can mix it up how long you want to wait between those 6 sprints.
Okay.
And just make sure you bring variety to that.
Okay.
And same thing with your workouts, mix it up. But I love that you liken your exercise routine to fistfights, because basically when it came down to it, the 2 parameters that are sympathomimetic, engaging the fight or flight thing, are flight, how fast we ran, and fight, fighting. Mm-hmm. And so those were really the 2 traits, the exercise, that kept a human being in the gene pool the longest, and also dictated how well they were going to thrive. Yeah. And that's what the business community is interested, I hope, in doing, thriving. You want to be successful. Well, we need to thrive biologically. So fist fights, that kind of an exercise, I don't encourage my clients to go out to a bar and get in a fist fight, but exercise in the manner that you have astutely figured out on your own is the way to do it. So condense, maximally intensive in a short period of time. 15 to 30 minutes is great, and you save all this time where you previously were going to maybe jog for a long time or going to work out in a gym for an hour or 2. It's much more efficient. So my executive clients or business owners telling you have saved me, Sean, so much time in this lifestyle. And oh, by the way, how much better I feel and how much better I'm living. Yeah. This is just the dividends are fantastic.